The Executive Lounge is empowered by Villa Monticello, Ghana's premium boutique hotel. Villa Monticello, your home of tranquility.
Is this something you learned when you're born an entrepreneur?
You got to start small.
I have not allowed being a woman to hold me back.
Credibility is not just making money, it's about making sure that people trust what you're doing.
Law practice is not only about going to court, it's about advice.
It's very difficult to hire somebody who's not motivated and then make them motivated.
One of the things that I'm known for is integrity.
They have to see you as a person of integrity.
Right. Welcome to the Executive Lounge. I'm Inshira Ado. Welcome to the Executive Lounge with me, Inshira Ado. This is the business leadership program that brings you nuggets of insight and wisdom from the experiences of men and women who have scaled the daunting heights of growing and managing their own businesses. They do that both here at home and around the world. And today my guest is not an exception to this. He is the founder of a shipping company. He's a man who has seen it all. He started from selling kerosene on the streets of Labadi. And today, his business around the world brings sustenance and livelihoods to more than 7,000 people. Can you imagine that? He's the founder of McDan Shipping, Dr. Daniel McKorley. You're welcome to the Executive Lounge.
Thank you, sir.
What was it like growing up?
Well, it's quite exciting. Looking at the background where I'm coming from, it's very exciting.
Right. What made it exciting? What makes it an exciting journey for you?
Well, I find myself to be very privileged because few of my type can survive. So it's a bit challenging, a bit exciting, a bit mixed stuff. So I believe that it's exciting.
Now, some of us have heard the story before, but I never get tired of hearing your story. You talk about sometimes having to sell kerosene as a child to also contribute to the household income. Share with us what life was like around that time.
Well, as a young boy growing up in Labadi, it wasn't easy, whereby you have to get out there and fight and survive on the streets, and at the same time looking at your educational career and how life moves you to a certain direction. Where I came from, you have to fight for yourself. Where I came from, you have to do things on your own to survive. I remember in them days where one time in my life, as you said, I was selling kerosene. I mean, the next neighbor sell kerosene, I have to go and help. I was even selling clothes on the street and buffaloes, You put it in the flat something and run around Labadi and sell and make some money to support yourself and to support others. So that's how life started. And it had not been easy, but it's exciting.
Right. What was your family like? Well, how many siblings did you have?
I grew up in 10 kids. Within 10 kids, my father had an ordinary carpenter, my mother a housewife, 7 boys and 2 girls. And I happened to be the 8th born of the family. So it's quite a large family. Yeah.
10 children. You were number 8.
Number 8, yeah.
How does it feel being, in terms of the numbering, coming in at number 8? Did you get much of attention as a child, or?
Well, rather no. Where I came from, education wasn't really the thing. It's like you have to have 10 children and have a goat, And it's like, my father is a very good man, was a very good man, and he cared a lot. but the resources wasn't there. And some of us couldn't just sit and look at putting 1 kk in a bowl to fight over it. So some of us have to find our way and make sure that we make life for ourselves. So being the 8th child, should I call it an advantage? Because it taught me a lot of hard stuff. And I have never regretted coming from such a family.
Now, quite often, people with backgrounds like this, like you said, are not meant to succeed. What inside of you made the difference that said, I'm not going to sit around and fight over a ball of kinky in a bowl. I'm going to go and look for opportunities for myself?
Well, I should say that the favor of God. The favor of God had always been there for me. And I always say that I'm the most luckiest person in this whole world. I have never regretted coming from such a background because it taught me a lot. It also shaped my life in a way. I saw the good, the bad, and the ugly. And if the favor of God wasn't there, and I'm a bit tough in the head and a bit stubborn neck. So it's a mix of a lot of things that had brought me this far. So I found myself fortunate to come from such a family. I would have been born into any wealthy family by now. I'm a lawyer or a doctor somewhere, relaxing somewhere, drinking my tea. And now from where I came from, I have been able to help myself and help the world around me. If I hadn't come from there, I don't know where I would have been today and what I would be doing today.
You talked about the favor of God being ever present, which is a great thing, but you still had to get out there. How did you end up starting McDan Group?
Well, you see, I started as a messenger with a company at the port, and I go in, clean the office, wash their plates. They send me photocopies here and there, and once in a while they send me to the port, to the warehouses, to help them locate cargo. Those days we're not computerized like this. You have to pick a paper, get into the warehouse, and look for a package. Whereas after that, I have to clean the office, clean their cars. They send me up and down, and they always give me something small. I remember those days I have to walk from Labadi to the airport because I don't have money for transport. I go through the airwork and behind the Lands Commission and find myself in the airport. Those days, I was determined to do something for myself. Because when I was young, I don't like free things. I don't like begging. I always want to work. I really want to work because even before I became a messenger, I was selling books. I go around office to sell books. I was once a driver's mate in one time of my life, Accra, Medina, Accra. I also work as a laborer to a company called BG Builders. We build the Sakumono flats. So this is how I started my life. You know, I always want to do something. One in my life, I was a pupil teacher. I taught for 2 years. I organized stuff for children, for kids. I go from house to house teaching rich kids, and God had been very good to me. So starting McDan as a messenger was also like a promotion, you know, to go to the office, clean the office, send me into a warehouse, and I feel proud that I've started doing something. So life had been like that.
What was it like working with all these people who would call you and send you? Did you learn anything from them?
Well, I learned what we call humility. You know, I serve. As I keep telling my workers now that there's no way you can be a king if you're not a servant. You can be a king if you are not be a servant before, but not a good king. But if you are being a servant before, you can be a very good king. I learned humility. I learned how to serve others. And I feel I'm keeping it with me till now. Currently, even if you enter into any of my offices, it's hardly before you can tell who is the boss. You know, if you don't know me, you come into my office. I really don't like suits, but you get to a certain position, you have to put suits.
You have to try and look the part.
Yeah, you have.
Otherwise, you're blending nicely.
Exactly. I mean, I still go to the field. I love operation work. I really don't like office work. So I serve. I have served in the past, and I'm still serving.
If you look at your life so far,
yeah,
especially your early days,
yeah,
what lessons do you think that has taught you that's keeping you steady today?
You know, you have to survive. You must have the instinct to survive, no matter what it takes. I have learned not to complain. Till now, I don't complain. I am never petty. I have learned never to be petty. Who do you complain to? So my past really built me up with this kind of tenacity and always giving me. I don't wake up today to expect my tomorrow to be better than my yesterday. I always wake up to have this belief in me that my tomorrow is going to be tough. So I face the world with that kind of mentality. If it happened to be good, soft for me, I say hallelujah to God. So this is what my background has taught me. You know, I don't have to expect any free lunch. You know, and that is what I try to train this modern youth about. That you always have to fight for yourself, expect tomorrow to be tougher, stop complaining, and face the world.
Do you think you would have been successful if you were in similar conditions as your childhood, starting today?
Well, that is where the favor of God comes in. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure, because where I'm coming from, you know, you need to test it. You know, you get to a point you have to fight. You know, among your colleagues, you have to show some kind of toughness. I don't know where I can get this experience. You know, you have to show that I had somebody and prove your supremacy. You know, it's quite. I know if I were born into a very rich home, some of this experience you can't get it. So at least I've enjoyed my past.
So you worked your way from messenger through the ranks.
Yeah.
How many times were you promoted in this business before you eventually left?
Well, anywhere I work, I get promotion. Anywhere. I mean, whatever I do, the favor of God always shine on me. I mean, I really, when I started life, money wasn't my thing. You know, I always want to deliver. You know, by delivering, I always get a resource. Anywhere I work, I get a leap. You know, one day my boss looked at me and said, look, then go and do this stuff. And I went and I delivered. They had not looked at me. But by delivering, they started looking at me to say, okay, fine, this young man can deliver. So they started giving me the opportunity to show what I can do. So for me, it had been a very progressive life. You know, even when I was working and I was nobody, I believe in multiple streams of income. But I don't want to still build my life into somebody else's time. I knew one day I would grow and have my own business and have my own and have people working for me. So when you give me something to do, I try to deliver without hesitation. Because I remember in the Bible when you look at Jacob, Jacob went to serve Laban. He served him well. When Jacob left, he got 2 wives and some flock. And this guy became the most richest man in the Bible, in history. You can make your research and see. So if you serve somebody well, you also have your path to be served well. So that had been it.
We're going to take a break now, and when we come back, there's more from Dr. Daniel McKorley, founder of McDan Group. Now, he's talked about how where he came from wasn't an easy place, where you sometimes had to fight to show what he calls your supremacy, but more importantly, to develop your survival instinct. More from where this came from after this break. Welcome back to the Executive Lounge with me, Inshira Addo. And today our guest, Dr. Daniel McKorley, founder of McDan Group, has been dropping some serious wisdom on us. Dr. McKorley, you said that if you had started out from the difficult background today, chances are you probably wouldn't be able to climb out of that place of scarcity. What's different from that period and today?
Not really. Don't get me wrong. See, Ghana is a place where there are a lot of opportunities. I believe that whilst we grow, the opportunities are becoming slimmer.
Okay.
But at the same time, quite marginal. What do I mean by saying that? I'm an entrepreneur. I build my business. At the age of 28 years, I made $1 million. And I was riding a Fiat Ritmo. Do you know what is a Fiat Ritmo?
Yeah, I know the Ritmo.
Yeah.
The hatchback.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you've been there. I made $1 million and I was riding a Fiat Ritmo. I didn't make $1 million from my mainstream of work. I was selling maize and I was exporting coffee. I go to Techiman, buy maize, my leisure time, hoard them, rain season, I put it on the Agbogboshi market and give support to farmers. That was the job I was doing. I was riding Fiat Ritmo. You see, word creation, you need to discipline yourself. And there must be some kind of continuity. You have to be consistent in your growth. Young men these days, today you see them doing journalism. He sees his friend in the computers doing some computer work, who is riding some small car. He moves there. The next moment you see him, another friend is in the bank, so he want to be a banker. You will end up spending 15, 20 years of your life
Doing bits and pieces of everything.
Everything. Whereby you get focused in one thing, right? You can build it and be whatever you want to do. If you look at the rich men in this world, there's a lot of consistency in their life. Young men also have to learn how to move with gorillas, not mouse and chickens. When you want to grow, the way you fix your mentality, that's how you will grow into. So the consistency that I was talking about, you have to do one thing and be consistent. I've been in shipping for 27 years. I'm doing same thing. Though there had been other streams of income, some pakpakpa here and there. You understand? But at the same time, I'm keeping my core business.
So there has to be a core. You stick with that core.
Yeah.
Everything else becomes a bit of a bonus that helps the core.
Help the core.
But essentially, you stick to the core.
To the core.
You talked about how important it is to stay with the vision, that you start as you intend to finish. What are the key values that guide how you do business?
Number one, honesty. Number two, you have to be consistent. you have to have a path. You see, every human being you should be known for something. In Shirado from Joy FM, you know that, okay, if I go to Shirado with an envelope giving him bribe before I appear on a show, it's no. You should have certain values where you should be noted for. When you come to me with the wrong is wrong, I have a lot of workers, they know that if I go to CEO's office or go to chairman's office, this can pass. You should be noted for what you stand for. So number one, you have to be very honest. Number two, you have to be very sincere. You understand? And the rest follow. If there is no honesty in your, as a young man, how can you build a future? I have worked for years. I hardly lose a client. If you go, you come back. Because I have a certain value to be sincere to whoever I meet. Those pay back. You will repeat for the rest of your life. So, I mean, having those values, which are supposed to be your core in business, shoot you into the other world.
What do you look for in people who you would want to join your business to work with you?
See, I sit in my office. I receive about 40 applications from MBA students, and I can't find one. This is where we are heading towards to. You can't get what you want. I am looking for somebody applying for a job or coming to work with me, right? You should be able to deliver. We have people who talk too much, they learn too much theory. They leave the practical, and they don't strive to do something extra. I learn everything, I can do anything. You give me the chance to study something or to grow in something, I will do it for you. Just give me the opportunity. I have created the platform for young men. Because you see, at the end of the day, I keep telling people that it's not how much money you have made, but how much life have you been able to impact. So every young man that I come across, I try to impact something. I try to support him, push. But somebody coming in to join me to work with, I expect the person to be able to use his common sense. If you want to succeed in certain terrain, you need some kind of street sense. Street sense doesn't mean you have to come from where I'm coming from. You should apply a lot of common sense in whatever you do. I keep telling my wife that, look, if my child jump a spoon and pick a toy, is that what I want to train my children to be? But this is where the world is moving to. We are not really getting focused or focusing on the right attribute of what will make our children and what will make the next world. It shouldn't be all that academics. The child, before you graduate from school, you should have some kind of street sense that makes you.
Your life demonstrates that education is important. You just mentioned you have difficulty finding the right material, sometimes going through lots of applications from MBAs. You have an EMBA yourself, which is something you acquired later in life. There are organizations today that actually have started thinking about the concept of hiring people and not really looking at their qualifications. What do you make of the way we're educating people in Ghana today? Is the system creating the kind of man and woman who can, for example, step into your shoes one day and take McDown Group to another level?
I have my problem there. You know, our educational curricula is becoming too theoretical. I remember when I was writing my one exams. It's about business strategy. A lecturer, my professor, gave me C. And I got a bit worried for what I wrote. But after I spoke with him one-on-one, I realized his mentality. You don't expect, you see, we are in a different terrain. If Apple has survived in America with certain philosophy, doesn't mean Apple can survive here with the same philosophy. We are in different environment. You understand? So if educational institution can look at tailored our the tuition towards our environment, that will help a great deal. We'll read stories about Europe, US, and all that, all those places. Does it really fit into our terrain? I'm doing logistics. I can move cargo from here to, let's say, Salarion by road. This is a distance from New York to, let's say, Chicago. Right. I move from here, I mean many borders, I mean many tribes. In Africa, we speak over 150-something languages within the short span of distance. You move from New York to Chicago by road, you speak all English all out. I move cargo from here in Ivory Coast, I mean rebels. In Liberia, I mean rebels. In Sierra Leone, I mean rebels. This is the terrain I do my business. Apart from rebels, if I have a problem, I can't call anybody. Okay, let's say Apple is succeeding in the United States of America or other terrain. The people mentality of pushing the brand, do we have the same mentality here? But to tell you the truth, we have the most intelligent people right here. When you meet them, you see how intelligent we are. But I had to come with certain culture. We have to understand the culture in which we train our students. And we have to rewrite the whole syllabus again. And I also believe that MBA students or ENBA students should be doing more practical than the load of theories that they read in the schools.
How can we get these intelligent people who are bound in this part of the world to make a telling difference on our economy?
Well, you know, we are coming from a terrain where we want everything for free. Till we start remolding our people. Till we start remolding our students that, look, do something for yourself. It will be very difficult. Every day we wake up, one government do this, government do that, government do that. Now I've decided that to trade entrepreneurs. I want to give out there. What is in my head, I pour it out, I give them the platform to do what they have to do. So for me, it's all about the mentality thing. I keep telling my wife that, look, my kids, they're like hardware. Whatever software you download in them, that's what they will grow with. It's the same like the educational system. The opportunity is there to create visionary leaders. But without that kind of mentality to creating that visionary leaders, we don't have vision. Simply because leadership is a problem here. The wrong people are going into leadership. Therefore, it becomes a problem. I don't want to use that word. It becomes a problem. You have the wrong people going into leadership. They don't understand what they're doing. How can they train those coming behind them?
So with all of these hurdles, how should we go about changing the software that we're throwing into these young people who are in school?
Well, change is difficult till all the educational institutions understand, and mixing the two. It's very important to mix the two. If you look at Asia, for the past decade, they have changed the way they train their children. They are moving them into the real deal, like I'm in school trying to do business. At times they break a year. They give them to organization to work with. They come back, they write a report. Those doing science, they go into factories and the rest to work. But where we are coming from, the leaders don't even understand that, look, we are training agrochemical students, right? Let them break from let's say, third year to fourth year. They should spend 1 year on the field. We are creating a Greek students. Give them 1 year on the field to go and do whatever they have to. They come back, they write a report, and they get added to their score. You challenge them. You challenge this. They will do it for you. So I believe that with time, with this kind of curricula, change is difficult though. But when we get the right people at the right places, it will definitely change.
We're going to take another break in a moment, but I want to pick your thoughts on this. Recently, we woke up to the announcement of an Unemployed Graduates Association. First off, do you think that a society like Ghana should have such an association? And how do we cure that challenge?
For me, it's nonsense and useless. Forgive me. How can you? See, this is why I'm saying that, you see, we come from a society where we are expecting government to do almost everything for us. Where we are expecting our fathers, our parents, the country to do things for us. We have to get out of that nonsense. How can you complete school to be a graduate? To say I'm unemployed. What was your thought from first year to last year? There are a lot of jobs out there. I can tell you today, there are a lot of jobs out there. Ghana is an optimum populated country. And there are too much job out there. One, the other aspect is how we choose courses for our children. You see students doing archaeology, taking application to bank, asking for jobs. You pack a class full of archaeology students, what are you teaching them? Till we look at that, I also believe that parenting is supposed to be taken serious. Don't choose just anything for your kids. You understand? So for me, having a society or let's say association of graduate unemployment, it doesn't make sense to me. University education is just meant for you to think for yourself. That's it. Just get to the university, think for yourself. Come out of the square and just do something for yourself. I remember I had education, but I had O-level, right? I was a very good science student. But I look at my background, where I'm coming from those days. If I go and do science, then I had to finish university before I get a job. But if I go and do business, I can get a bookkeeper somewhere. You understand? So I went to accounting, I did accounting, and at the same time I had O-level, I went to the field to do labor work because I couldn't get a job. At the same time I was teaching. Why would I want to join an association on unemployed O-level student? Doesn't make sense. So we need to look at some of these very seriously as a whole, as a country. And that is where leadership comes in.
Well, you know that leadership is certainly an important factor in development. We're going to take another break. And when we come back, we'll explore more the importance of leadership and also the factors that are required to build a business over 27 years and affect the lives of more than 7,000 people worldwide. This is the Executive Lounge. My name is Inshira Ado, and we'll be back after this break. Welcome back to the Executive Lounge with me, Inshira Ado, and my guest, Dr. Daniel McKorley, founder of McDan Group. It's been an awesome period of learning, and I'm sure that you will make time to go to our Facebook page and also our YouTube channel to watch if you missed something. But if you just joined us, let me just bring you up to speed. Dr. McKorley started his life under very tough circumstances, but he was relentless, and he always had his pride intact. He made sure that he never begged. He took every opportunity that was given to him to learn and better his life. Today, he's founded a business that touches 7,000 lives globally. We're going into more as we prepare to end this episode of Executive Lounge. Dr. McKorley, you said proudly so too that you've been running the McDan Group for 27 years. I'm sure if you were drawing a graph, it wouldn't have been all the way up. There would have been some dips in there.
Most definitely.
Share with us some of the dips and the lessons you learned along the way.
You know, have you woke up one day not feeling like even entering your office because you don't have any hope of making the next check to pay salaries?
Wow.
But for me, all those things I experienced, the terrain is difficult. You know, when you're doing business here, your down is your down.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get anybody to lift you up, no matter how hard you try. But I remember one day I lost almost everything. I have to sell my car to pay my workers' salary. But that didn't slow me down. I still had the faith. I had to fight on. I got to, you know, business in itself has 3 life cycle. Like you start from the infant stage, you move to the organic stage and the corporate stage. I've gone through the mill. You have to be able to identify whichever stage you find yourself in and what you have to mobilize to get out of that stage. Business had never been smooth. And as I said, you don't wake up tomorrow to expect business to be better, tomorrow to be better than your today. You have to have calculated plans towards how you manage your tomorrow. So I remember when you have a huge debt facing you, how you go through it. So it's where other factors come in, like quality of staffing, you understand, logistic, and the whole environment, you know. You look at the external environment, the internal environment, how to model your way through.
You rightly say that, you know, it hasn't been smooth sailing. Sometimes you're not the reason things didn't go well. Sometimes you're the reason things didn't go well. How much have you taken away from situations like that?
Somebody asked me I should give him an unfortunate situation in my business. And I told him I don't have any unfortunate situation. Because every unfortunate situation is a learning curve. What is more important than you learning out of your old mistakes to be a better person tomorrow? So should I say it's bad? No. I would want to be shot for what I did, not what I didn't do. If I get shot for what I did, I'll be a happy person than what I didn't do. So if my own business growth, there are mistakes. I've made a couple of mistakes which turned out to be an experience for me. And I'm happy about it. It makes me a happy boy that I've been able, I am always able to scale through. It also gives me opportunity to be sitting here today telling others, putting my years of experience in a small book, right?
Let's put this very priceless experience into perspective. At what stage of the business and what decision did you make that became a learning curve for you?
Okay, I remember, in my infant stage, you are the accountant, the CEO, the messenger, the customer care person. You're running through almost every aspect of your business. You are you. If you're not there, the business cannot run.
You work 7 days a week.
Yeah, you have your check. You have your checkbook and your cash in your suitcase.
Yes.
You can, wherever you are, you write yourself.
Yeah.
Yes, those were the challenging. But it's exciting, because at that particular moment you'll be making money. You understand? You'll be making some kind of money, and you have to be able to guide that. That is where you make a lot of mistakes. Yeah, a friend of yours want a sister to be a secretary, you say, oh, go and sit there. A friend of yours, you need an accountant, so go and sit there. 5 years, 6 years, you realize that you have employed chaff. To turn it around becomes a problem. When you are at that stage, you realize you're making money. You get to a point, the organic stage, whereby your business is growing. Where you can see that your business is the growth of your business is massive. But that place is also a very dangerous stage. That is where most businesses collapse. I remember one time in my life, I have over 68 trucks, fleet on the street. I was receiving cash. But one day I sat down and I did a cash flow. I realized that out of the 68, it was about 20 just bringing money. In a medium term, all the trucks were bringing me debt, whereby you have problem today, problems all over. So you realize that you've not been able to manage to hold your empire very, very strongly, and the wastage become massive. So one day, what did I do? I just walked into the yard, called the Chenier Ocean Ore, just to cut my losses. Because that was bringing huge debt to me. And that stage of your business, whereby you want growth, to take that decision, you need a very lion heart to take that decision. You don't need to hang on something that is bringing you continuous debt.
Some assets can be albatross around your neck.
Exactly.
Now, at that time, you made a very difficult decision. I mean, self-starters like yourself are stubborn, and so sometimes decisions like that get taken a little too late.
Yeah.
Now, when you made that decision, did you walk away believing that you had done the right thing, or there was some doubt in your mind?
I believe I did the right thing, because as an entrepreneur, risk-taking must be part of half of your heart. You have to be able to take risk. And when you take the risk, you have to stand by it. No matter how it turns, you took that risk. And I believe I did the right thing. It gave me a lot of relief, but at the same time, big debt. You understand? And I plan to work and get out of that debt.
Okay.
And rebuild it in a more structured form. From the organic to the corporate level, structures and systems must begin to work. But whereby the infant level, there are no structures, there are no systems, you are everywhere, you are everything. You understand? You look at every invoice, you look at every check, you sign almost everything. That's the infant stage. But you move from the organic level to the corporate stage, system and structures must be working for you. Immediately you cannot cross that bridge, you'll be heading towards collapse. And you can see that you are marking time. You don't experience much growth. And I believe that in this country, why are the Lebanese businesses, the Indian businesses growing and Ghanaian businesses are collapsing? Those are the questions we find ourselves.
Have you found answers to any of these?
Oh yes, we need to be, you see, we need to be consistent. We have to let structures and systems work for us. We have to have the right, we have the right personnel and pay the right amount for the right personnel. So for me, I believe that I have gone past and I'm still in there struggling to move on and get past that level.
But you have a lot of experience and lessons to help you ensure that you make the right choices.
I believe so.
Absolutely.
I believe so.
Now, let's talk about the almighty political space.
Yeah.
Business and politics will always interface. What should happen to see business and politics interface and both walk away happy?
Business and politics will always be clashes. But where there are right policies and right leadership, we thrive. There are many models in this world, but Ghana, we are really lacking behind. We don't help our own. We have opened our doors too wide for foreign competition. We don't trust and believe in our own. So politics and business will always have some kind of clashes. But we're supposed to be able to separate the two. At the same time, on another level, we have to be able to marry the two. I hope I'm not too deep for you to understand what I'm saying. Good. Okay. Because
where there are good synergies, we should give the best opportunities.
Thank you, my brother.
Essentially, give opportunities to local players.
Exactly.
But the government has announced that, you know, under this particular administration, 70% of government contracts are going to go to Ghanaian businesses.
Well, I believe in this government. I know that they started very well, and me as a business and in the private sector, I believe they walk the talk. And the current president that we have, I know that he's been a businessman before. He's gone through the mill. He understands what it meant by building a local content. And also, if you look at what is going on in this country, we are having a lot of, a businessman, let's say like McDan, you built me, where am I going to take my money? But if you help another business, foreign business, it's going to send our way. We have to come to the realization that we need to build our own. We need to build a local business. You go to places like Russia. Russia is having the more billionaires in the world. You know how they did it? The government identify and pick certain businesses. I said, look, 1, 2, 3 businesses, you are going to be in the agricultural sector. They help you, push you, give you all the advantages that you need to build your own, right? Because you are Russian. They select and pick serious companies in the logistic business. Say you and you and you be in the oil sector in terms of logistics, telecoms. But Ghana, everything is gone. Does that mean we don't have good entrepreneurs here, or we don't have people to build this country? If billions of dollars we want, we can raise it if government support, right? So these are some of the things if the government come on board to support the private sector. I believe there's so much opportunities here. And this government have started so well. There's so much confidence in the private sector. There's so much confidence with the government. And I know with that kind of confidence from our side, we also give that kind of support.
Now, as we wrap up, I'd like to learn a little more about what you do to relax. I'm sure You're not constantly crunching numbers 24/7. There are moments where you just have a bit of a downtime.
I relax. I relax a lot around my kids. I play tennis with my kids. I try to watch movie with them. We try to play what we call home soccer. I relax. They play me piano. I mean, they love playing the piano. So I spend my Saturday with my family. From morning to evening, we play tennis. We go out there, eat ice cream, and I mean, how long can man live? Yeah, so whenever I see my children shouting, making noise, it makes me happy. So I relax.
That's good. Yeah. Now you've been, over the last few years, investing in tennis development through the Macdan Open. What inspired that, and why do you feel the need to invest in that space?
Well, I believe in giving back to the community. You know, if you see where I'm coming from, what do? I only don't do tennis. I on my birthdays, 2-3 times every year, I go out there to support orphanages, building libraries, some LA schools.
Okay.
I'm helping young entrepreneurs, investing my money in them. But with the tennis, I'm so passionate about them because tennis can really change lives. You understand? I went to the stadium one day and I saw kids using wooden rackets to play tennis. So it touched my heart. And I said, no, this is the game I can help and support. Right? I held a racket after I built my own tennis court in my house. I had never played tennis. Well, I'm coming from Labade. Where will you get a court to play? You know, so it's quite interesting to be supporting such a noble cause, just giving back to society. As I said, at the end of your life, it's not how much money you have made, but how many lives you have impacted.
And on that note, I'd like to say a big thank you to you, Dr. McKorley, for making time to share your insights and experience with us. We're grateful.
You're welcome, always.
As always, we end with 5 lessons we're taking away from the conversation. Number 1, doesn't matter where you come from. It might be very difficult and a place of scarcity. But 1, if you remain resilient and you do the right thing consistently, you find yourself out of that situation and impacting the lives of other people. Number 2, be consistent. Find something to do it very well, and make sure that you're consistently doing it well. And that is where you will create the advantage that brings you value and prominence. Number 3, have some common sense. It's important that the things you do should teach you. Every mistake you make should become a learning curve. Every experience that you have should not be considered as an unfortunate experience, but rather an opportunity to learn and be better. Number 4 is always think about the people around you. Now, it is not what you have, but what it does for you and the people around you. So if you've had an opportunity to rise out of the crowd and stand out, don't stand out and look down on people. Stand out so you can inspire. Stand out so you can hand someone the baton. Stand out so you can reach out and pick someone up. And finally, love family. The man tells you he enjoys spending time with his family. And I will quote the Godfather, Mario Puzo's Godfather. Says the Godfather said to his son, Sonny, a real man is a man who makes time for his family. And by extension, a real woman is a woman who makes time for their family. So we say goodbye to you. We'll come back again with another edition of the Executive Lounge. My name is Inshira Ado, and it's been fantastic coming your way. Thanks to Kuku Apia, the production team, and to Villa Monticello for the set. Shalom, go forward, make rain. Is this something you learned? Were you born an entrepreneur?
You got to start small.
I have not allowed being a woman to hold me back.
Credibility is not just making money, it's about making sure that people trust what you're doing.
Law practice is not only about going to court, it's about advice.
It's very difficult to hire somebody who's not motivated and then make them motivated.
One of the things that I'm known for is integrity.
They have to see you as a person of integrity.
Welcome to the Executive Lounge. I'm Inshira Ado.
The Executive Lounge is empowered by Villa Monticello, Ghana's premium boutique hotel. Villa Monticello, your home of tranquility.